Hello, brothers and sisters in Kindred family. I'm very glad to see you again after 1 year. In the past almost 5 years, we were together. God lead us and God use us. The brothers and the sisters from the three churches, we are getting closer and closer. We share our faith, we share our life. And this year is very special, and we are glad it is time we can have more fellowship together. The book of Isaiah speak to the violence, the dissensions, the troubles all around people. The situation is just like us. So we hope through the 7 week studying together, worship together, and fellowship together, we can learn the word and understand how God lead us at this moment. The prophet Isaiah lived in the 8th century to 7th century BC. By that time, he experienced the capture of Israel as a north country. And after about 100 years, Jerusalem fell. So this is the historical background. So during that time, Israel people walk away from God, and God angry with his people. So during the time of Isaiah, he as a prophet, he continually speak to God's people and call them to return from their sin. Interestingly, in this 7 particularly chapter, this is not talking about the fall of Jerusalem. This is talking about after the fall, God promised to deliver them. And also, he foresee the time after Israel people return to Jerusalem. They rebuild the temple under the rule of the Persians. In that situation, the whole society is in a chaos. There is no normal order, so there is no peace, no justice. So people call his people go back to his heart. So in the very beginning, just like a loving husband talking to his wife, he used 3 characters. First one is a barren woman. In the ancient time of Far East, a woman without child is a huge disgrace. So the husband, God speak to the barren woman to assure he will be happy and joy. The woman without children will happier than the woman with many children. And the second, he just like talk to a widow. A widow is very difficult. The ancient time, the woman contribute to the society through her husband. When you lost your husband, you cannot contribute to the society. So people look down the widow. And the third image is even worse, is a wife rejected by the husband. So like a loving husband, the Lord speak to the rejected woman. He assure her, I will be with you forever. So in these images, God speak to his people. Even though you have suffering, you have disgrace, memory, you have all the burdens with your life, but I assure you, I will be with you. My love will be everlasting. After the 11 through 17, he just talked to the city of Jerusalem. He assured the city, you suffered for a long time, but I assure you, I will decorate you with all the precious, beautiful stones. So used in this way, he assures his people he will establish them with the righteousness, with the justice, and he will use them for his witness. That's the basic message in this chapter. The prophecy is not just talking about a specific time. Actually, it's talking about the salvation work. It will happen after almost 700 years when Jesus come to the world. But the promise, the everlasting love to his people, this is an ultimate promise. So this is a gospel theme. They talk about, in the end of the chapter, he talk about again about his servant. Just before, in chapter 3, he talked about his righteous servant, which is Jesus Christ. So in this chapter, he used the gospel theme again. So the promise actually is ultimate, is a salvation work. It is gospel. This year, right before we started the 7-week series, people's attention joined into several cases about the anti-Asian heat. I don't think this is a coincidence. I feel like this is something the Lord gave us as a special license. God's in his heart, he wants all the people with every ethnicity to be together, to worship God together. This is the thing we will see in the heaven. So God wants his people on this world, they can be united with his word and his gospel. But resist is a sin. Gospel is dealing with sin. This is away from God's will. So this is an evil thing. How should we practice the unity and worship God together with all the people, with all ethnicity? We have to overcome the sin of racist. So this is an important practice. I want to share a special saying gave me big impact. In the early year, I just started to follow Jesus. I heard a testimony from a retired minister. He encountered a bad experience. He went to a supermarket to shopping. After he came out in the parking lot, he got robbed, and the evil person even beat him, make him bloody. It's a very miserable situation, and people come to comfort him. He said something surprised many people. He said, "I own a debt for that person." People said, asked, "Did you know him personally?" He said, "No, but I owe him the debt of gospel." This is a really profound word, at least to me. The old pastor, he showed every person, every sinner, they need the change by the salvation. If we faithfully share the gospel, all sinners' life will be changed. So in this case, I feel like who is doing the evil things against Asian? Of course, evil one, racist. They are doing, they sin. But on the other hand, who is not a sinner? We changed because of the mercy and the grace of God. So we need to share what changed us to all the people. The Kindred family come together. We are not a political movement. we are a spiritual movement because we want to make change, but by the strength and the power of the Lord and the gospel. That's, I think this is the most important lesson. The Lord wants the Kindred family to learn it.